Hello and welcome to Tiefgründig, the only podcast on the topic of sustainability in infrastructure construction. I am delighted to welcome Silje from Infraspace as my guest today. Could you please start to introduce yourself and Infraspace?
Okay, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here, I guess, at your podcast. My name is Silje Kalleberg, and I'm a product specialist at Infraspace. And Infraspace is a Norwegian company that has developed software for infrastructure planning, where we introduce generative design in the early phases of infrastructure planning.
It's great to have you here on the podcast. We first met at the DB Mindbox program, where both Infraspace and also Auris Materials Intelligence were among the finalists. How do you remember this experience in Berlin?
Oh, yes, this was a very great event, and I think I really enjoyed it. I think it was a great event with great people and impressive startups. And it was quite valuable for us to be there and to get the connections we met. And like you, Isabel, I met you there, and it was a great event.
You already told us that your role is a product specialist at Infraspace. Could you tell us a little bit more about this, and what are you working on day to day, and what excites you most about this?
As you said, I'm a product specialist in Infraspace. So my background is structural engineering, and I worked some years as a consultant before I joined Infraspace 1 year ago. And as a product specialist, I work in the crossing between the customers and the technology. And I get this first-hand experience with how technology is used, which value it brings to the projects, and I get the chance to help them use Infraspace the way that it maximizes the potentials of the software. And I really love it.
Yeah, this sounds really cool and very exciting. But infrastructure planning is still largely a manual process, I would say, and I think it's also very time-consuming. What would you say is fundamentally broken in the way infrastructure is designed today?
How we see it is that one issue with today's approach is that it often takes too long time from having one idea of a route of a new infrastructure till you actually have the decision basis you need. So it is a lot of manual steps, and it requires different resources and different softwares is needed. And this is a very time-consuming process only to investigate one alternative. And it can often take weeks or even months only to investigate one alternative. So imagine you're investing maybe 5 different alternatives in your projects. That takes a lot of time. And projects do have a budget, and that limits how many alternatives you can investigate before you must draw a conclusion.
Sure. And can you describe a little bit more how Infraspace challenged this, and what's the problem you solve for the engineers or owners or planners of the infrastructure?
Yes, so this is where we believe that the generative design technology within AI technology can play an important role. And I think we want the stakeholders to go from time-consuming and manual steps to minutes with generative design. And I think by leveraging this data and algorithms, I think we can, in a project, we can make it possible for you to explore thousands of route alternatives in minutes, and in this way save time and money, and also include important topics like land take, environmental impacts earlier in the design process.
I'm absolutely convinced that generative design will be a game changer in many cases. But for those who are completely new for the concept, as there are a lot of engineers listening to this podcast, can you explain a little bit more what exactly is generative design in the context of civil engineering and infrastructure?
It's a process where you leverage data and algorithms to explore design alternatives. So you have some data input that can be topography, geometrical constraints like slopes and radius, and you also have project data, which can be GIS data in terms of GIS data that explains where you have the different land resources. And yeah, then you start the algorithms, and the algorithms will create route alternatives for you and evaluate each of them, and then try to optimize each, hence to the goal you set. So one goal can be try to find the solution that is the cheapest one in terms of construction costs, or you want to minimize the carbon footprint, or you want to save areas with biodiversity. Yeah.
That's very cool. So you get lots of proposals based on a lot of data, which would consume a lot of time to analyze it manually. I think this makes your solution very fast and scalable. And how does it integrate maybe also other tools that engineers or planners are using at the moment, like, for example, Civil 3D?
Yeah, so this software is a web-based and a cloud-based software, which we integrate with today's workflow. So everything you need of data, you can import and export that one. And for example, you can generate the route alternative in Infraspace with the AI technology, and you can export this one to Civil 3D and Trimble Quadri for further detailing.
That's cool. So it's very integrative with the tools that are largely used in this industry. And one of the focus topics in this podcast is, of course, sustainability. And I had a look on your presentation when I prepared this podcast, and I saw that you use environmental KPIs such as carbon footprint or land use. How exactly are these KPIs calculated and visualized in your software?
Yes. Yeah, we have a lot of different KPIs and a lot of environmental KPIs like carbon footprint, as you said. And I think, we calculated them in different ways. For example, you can assign values for each meter road, and then you can also assign values to the different land takes. So, for example, you can define how much 1 square meter with a land take of agricultural land will contribute to the environmental KPIs. So, yeah, we do visualize them with the numbers and graphs, of course, that can be exported. And also we do the visualization with the 3D bars along the routes.
Infraspace is also a young company, I would say. Can you already share a real-world example where Infraspace led to a more sustainable or cost-efficient design?
Yes, I can. And this is very exciting. We recently did a project with a company in Norway where we had some existing alternatives. And then our customer, he uploaded the center lines to Infraspace and got them automatically evaluated and visualized with 3D models. And then he used the AI engine to search for new alternatives. And the client, he said that Infraspace actually discovered a previously unconsidered alternative that ultimately became one of the solutions he recommended to his client. So this alternative was both cheaper and had more social benefits than the existing alternatives. I think projects or cases like this is super cool to witness, that we actually use technology to find the better and more sustainable alternatives for our new infrastructure.
Yeah, that's very interesting because you can also reinsure yourself to make a data-based or data-driven decision. And I think that's also great in terms of communication about your project with the public. And I think you can use this in many different cases or contexts.
Yeah, I agree.
And Norway is well known for sustainability, especially in Germany. We always look into the Nordics when we talk about sustainable practices. How do you see this? Is sustainability already a topic which is very present, or are your clients also primarily focused on time and costs?
Yeah, I think both. I think sustainability, as you said, is a very important topic here in Norway, and I think it's an important topic all over the world. In Norway, we have done a lot of initiatives when it comes to sustainability, and I think we have a lot of customers. They need to take sustainability into account in the early phases of designing a new infrastructure, and I think they have to. And I know that they have to report on many different KPIs. And I think that's where generative design can speed up this process. And one client actually said that in one of the projects he used Infraspace, the calculation time for some of the sustainability KPIs. He said that it went from weeks to minutes in the reporting on these KPIs. So I believe, yes, sustainability is absolutely a driver for adoption because of all of the requirements that needs to be documented. But I also think that time and costs saved is still maybe the most important driver.
Yeah, I think in the end, sustainability also includes the costs, because if it's too cost intensive to be more sustainable, it's not sustainable anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
And now you have to collaborate with a lot of different stakeholders with very diverse backgrounds. How do you work with engineers, clients, and public agencies when developing new features or tailoring the platform to specific needs?
Yeah, so we work very close with industry. And as a product specialist, I'm very lucky to get the chance to experience this firsthand, how the software is used by our customers. And we often have several meetings each week where we help and discuss use cases. And Infraspace is highly shaped by this close collaboration, I think. And we continuously implement requests from our customers. And if we see that these requests also benefits the development of the software. So, for example, today I'm going to implement an Excel export for a customer that wanted even more detailed insight in the earthworks for his alternatives.
Very interesting. And I think that's the best approach to work very close with the users or with the customers or clients together. And can you share a story where a client feedback directly shaped your product roadmap?
Yeah, last year we did a project with one of our larger clients, and they had to report on important environmental KPIs for many different alternatives. So, for example, here they had to do a audiovisual analysis, which I think you also do in Germany. Yeah, and then they had to do this very manually in this traditional way. And he said that it would be nice if Infraspace also could do this environmental analysis directly in the software. So here we implemented this analysis, and some short time later, I think they had this audiovisual analysis performing automatically in their Infraspace projects.
That's very cool. But I think there are also some challenges in translating these engineering practices into a digital tool, especially when the local standards and expectations vary. How do you deal with this?
Yeah, that is true. And I think we have developed Infraspace in a very flexible and scalable way. It's not hard coded to any standard, and it's up to the user to define what standards they need to meet. And as an organization, you can create a library with different cross sections and related requirements, and you can then reuse these cross sections and requirements across different projects. So after several projects, I think we see that we are quite confident that we have the mechanism that is needed to perform early planning.
Okay. And I already said that we met at the DB Mindbox, but Infraspace has won or been shortlisted for several innovation programs, including DB Mindbox or Cassini, Cemex Ventures. What would you say has that recognition meant for your growth and visibility in the construction industry?
Yes, this one is very exciting, and especially the one you mentioned, Cassini Challenge in Prague. That was hosted by the European Space Agency, and we won the best product prize. And this recognition is very valuable for us. The prize made the press, and a lot of attention was brought to us. And I think recognitions like this is an important reference for us. We get more confidence. And it is also important for our customers to see that large organizations like Deutsche Bahn, European Space Agency, it's important that they believe in our software. So it's very valuable.
And are you already seeing traction beyond Norway, for example, in Germany or other European markets?
Yes, we do. We last month, we made the cover of AEC magazine, which some of you may have heard of. It's a global leading magazine within architecture, engineering, and construction. So yeah, we are increasingly getting more inbounds from all over the world, like France, Colombia, Australia, and Dubai. And we also have a master student in Poland writing about Infraspace. And yeah, we have also done several proof of concepts with international clients. And but so we are very much ready for connecting with the German market and other markets.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because isn't it also a challenge that all the different countries have different data structure, data formats, and it's possible to use Infraspace all over the world?
Yeah, we have created a platform which is very flexible. So if you have data, GIS data, you can upload it to Infraspace, and we have some very general mechanism that will cover the needs across the countries.
Very cool. And yeah, so the question could just be, what is the next step for Infraspace? Are you planning more integrations with other planning or sustainability tools as well?
Yeah, so we're continuously working with the development of the product, making it more scalable and making sure that we stay up to date with the development within AI technology and sustainability requirements. And also we see that we are increasingly getting more customers that is not just role planners, but project leaders and owners that wants to explore their own ideas of a new route. So we plan on doing some adjustments to the UX, the user experience, to make it even more easy to create a new road.
And is Infraspace limited to roads, or is it also possible to use it for railway tracks?
Yes, this is a software for different infrastructure. So not only roads, but railway and also power transmission lines.
Okay.
Yeah, I have used the road as an example here, but I want to make sure that everybody understand that this is also a software for railway and power transmission lines. That's correct.
Yeah, I think that's an important information. So it's for linear infrastructure, I would say. Maybe
Yes.
that's the main topic for Infraspace. And what would you say? How far can generative design go? Will it eventually cover the entire infrastructure corridors, including also bridges, tunnels, and logistic planning?
Yes, I think that generative design is the future of infrastructure design. If we look to other industries like architecture and the car industry, I think this technology is here to stay. And I think, I think we in Infraspace, we include bridges and tunnels and constructions like, retaining walls. And in Infraspace, we generate alternatives, which has a good level of detailing. I will say maybe 80% detailing, but it's very important to say that we believe that this technology will not replace the engineers and the planners. I think you still need to understand your infrastructure and be able to evaluate the outcome. But we believe that those who embrace technology like this, they will get a competitive advantage over those who don't.
I also think that generative design will change everything and that it will be the future. To get proposals in the end that you can evaluate afterwards. And it's a big thing to be more efficient in what you do, whatever it is. If it is infrastructure design or something else, I think the use cases are nearly unlimited for generative AI.
Yes, I also think that's.
And do you see your platform becoming part of standard procedures in public procurement at an early stage planning, or do you think this is a long-term vision?
Yeah, so I do, and I hope it will. I think outcome-driven design, it makes it easier and faster to include the important topics such as biodiversity, land take, and carbon footprint. And I think this will continue to stay important in the future of infrastructure design. So I hope this will become a standard procedure for how we develop our new infrastructure.
Do you also have collaborations with universities, for example, to get more insights from maybe the young users who have an affinity to work with new technologies? And do you have something like this as well?
Yes, we have some dialogue with the university. We have some bachelor students in Norway writing some thesis where they explore Infraspace and compare Infraspace with the traditional methods. And as I mentioned earlier, I think we also had a student in Poland writing his master thesis about our technology. So we have some collaboration with the uni, so that's good.
Maybe we find a student in Germany as well who thinks that this is a future topic. That's why I asked.
So please send them my way.
I will do so.
Yeah.
And what do you personally find most rewarding about shaping the way infrastructure will be planned in the future?
So I find it very rewarding that we develop a technology that helps multiple stakeholders in a project to get more insights and execute more in a project with these smart technologies. I think helping them to more efficiently understand their infrastructure is very nice, and in this way be able to help them draw conclusions that saves construction costs and are more sustainable. So I find it very rewarding.
Yeah, same here. I absolutely share your point of view. And if I would give you the magic stick and I would say you could change one thing about infrastructure projects and how they are designed today, what would you do?
So I think maybe having a stronger focus on the actual outcome in the early stages. I think we believe that smarter technology will make it possible to have a stronger focus on the actual outcome, and in this way find the solutions that are more sustainable and cheaper. Yeah, and if I may add one more thought, I think also coming from a consulting firm, I think consulting engineers should be even more incentivized to find optimal solutions. When softwares can improve efficiency, I think the traditional model of selling hours may no longer be the most effective way of doing it.
Yeah, I think so too. And if we have some listeners who want to learn more about Infraspace or test Infraspace for a project, how can they get in touch with you? Where can they find more information about it?
So you can contact me. You go to our websites and here you will find the information you need. I think, yes, we would love to get in touch with everyone that is involved with infrastructure planning. If it's project owners, planners, contractors, please reach out and we would love to give you a more tailored introduction to generative design.
I will definitely link your website on my website and in the show notes as well, that everybody has the possibility to contact you. And I would love to hear about the first Infraspace project in Germany very soon.
Yes, I think we have done some. We had done some proof of concept in Germany, and we have had some contact with the Deutsche Bahn from DB Mindbox, you said, and also some other companies. So we're very excited to see how this will be, and I think we are ready for you, and and I hope you want to get in touch.
This sounds great, and I can't wait to talk with you about the first finished project, hopefully here in this podcast. And in this sense, I would say thank you very much that you have been my guest today here. And we stay in touch, and I wish you and Infraspace all the best.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.